Okay, it's just
Oh, that's annoying. It doesn't matter.
Good evening. Welcome to the Hugh Hattrick Show and our F1 special. And I'm joined, as always, with the great Andrew Marr. Hello, Andrew. It's good to see you. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I will pay you later for calling me great. I think it's more like vaguely acceptable than great. This is my living room. Can you see? And I've been thinking about doing something like this for a while, but I've finally got the chance to because of some of the equipment I bought, including these incredible Soundcore Anchor H30Is, which allow me with a dingly dangly dongle on my PC, which allows me to not only hear you properly, but to talk to you properly. And I'm hoping that the sound quality is good.
Yeah,
that's
coming through well.
You get to see my entire body, strong, powerful, sexy, and old. Thank you very much for listening.
Well, it's been a few weeks. I had a couple of weeks off. The schools were out, so I thought, right, I'll take it as a couple of weeks off, but we'll get back into things. But there's been lots of stuff going on, some very exciting news. I look like I'll be having to start a little crowdfunding site as well to help finish things off and hopefully get my sim center up and running. But there's been a lot of progress with that, so hopefully we're not too far away. But Helen is here as well, and we've got Simon. I've sent Simon a link as well, an invite if he wants to come on the show too.
Simon, come on the show. Welcome. Come on the show. You always add to it. You and Hugh add, I take away. That's how it works. It's like give and take. And also, I'd like to say, I'm gonna stick my nose in here. And Hugh is a true entrepreneur. He's definitely someone who's a bit of a risk taker. He has ideas. He comes up with stuff. So if anyone, he's got this idea for a sim racing cafe, effectively, in Alnwick. And I think it's a brilliant idea. He's had some completely insane ideas, which I also think are brilliant, which includes a sim racing bus. Imagine that. You can drive around the countryside, you find people that want to do like sim racing, and you let them have a go. And I don't actually think I think it's a really good idea monetarily. What's the word I'm looking for? You help me.
Well, hopefully it's going to be a good return on your investment.
Good return. Obviously, there are,
risks.
No. I'm not going to say risk. Every business is a risk. I'm talking more in the terms of the bad idea of the bus.
Yeah, well, you got to store it, and then you've got to.
It's more to do with. I can't think of the correct terminology, but I'll talk my way through it. It's more to do with the sort of the marketing of it. If people saw the bus come in and go, oh wow, I get a chance to go driving like a nut, and they're like 10, 15 years old and they're not allowed to drive, it will be a massive success. It's like the stuff that Sim Grid and Sim
stuff
have been doing.
Yeah.
I bet not 20 years ago, let's say 5 years ago, no one would have thought that they could go to a racing meet and thought to themselves, I could have a go. Whereas the sim racing venues, when they go to a Formula One meet or a British Touring Car Championship meet or any kind of racing meet, and they get to have a go. Hi, Simon.
Good to see you, Simon.
They would jump at it. They would jump at it.
Yeah.
But it didn't exist, you see.
Yeah.
And now it does. So in the same way, a bus coming to your town where you have no possibility to get on high-end racing equipment, because that's the point. It's high-end racing equipment and high-end sims. They would jump at it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's not. The concept is great. It's getting people to understand what it is.
Yeah.
Carry on, you two.
There you go. Good to see you, Simon. Welcome to the show.
Good to see you. You all right? Yeah. How are you?
I'm very good. You sound just like a commentator with your mic there.
Roving reporter.
I've moved to stand. I haven't got time to keep fiddling around with that and putting it back again.
Oh, no,
so it's easy to do that.
Honestly.
No, you've got good sound in there. That's a good microphone. But yeah, so we're going to talk about the Formula One and that incredible race. To be fair, that Max won yesterday, and he really showed them all had how to do it, isn't it? And I kind of knew from the start. I just thought he is so quick on every lap, throughout all the conditions. Something was going to happen, and once again, McLaren made terrible errors of judgment with coming into the pits when actually they should have just stayed out. They were doing okay. Yeah, so who will I go to first? About what do you think of what happened yesterday? It was kind of crazy. I do have some video footage as well, which I'm sure F1 will lend to me. So it's we can have a look at that at some point. But we will see. Andrew, would you like to go give us your take in 60 seconds?
Sure. Okay. To me, if I'm going to sum everything up, I would sum it up by starting with qualifying. And I would say that qualifying was the standard wet weather potluck on who managed to get over the line last, because every lap dries the track more and you get more grip, and the level of grip you get as it dries because another car's going over it is greater than the difference between the drivers and also the cars. Okay, so this Tsunoda's amazing driver. I mean, I was watching comments on the Formula One footage of it, and it was like, "Oh, Tsunoda's amazing, real talent shown up in bad weather." No, it isn't. It is if you can keep the weather the same and the track conditions the same for everybody all the time, but that's not what happens. What happens is the track dries as everyone goes over it, and the difference in grip is way bigger than any talent difference, any equipment difference, any tyre difference. It's all about potluck. It's potluck within reason. There are small differences. Like 1 or 2 places difference.
Yeah.
Then you get the actual race, and with all the McLaren and Mercedes with Norris and Russell did the usual of dropping the ball. Okay, I've been watching Formula One for like 30 years, and I remember some of my best memories are.
This is 60 seconds, by the way. 60 seconds.
Yeah, it's a ruse 60 seconds, but
60 minutes.
Yeah, but do you want me to say what?
Yeah, no, carry on.
Yeah, shut up. So, shut up, Patrick. You've been in Glasgow. You've been. Anyway, if.
You were talking about in the old days.
Just not the old days, over the whole of the last 30 years. So, as an example, I used to watch, and it was a marvellous thing. People go have this massive hissy fit about, oh, I'm sick and tired of dominant teams doing this. I'm sick and tired of people always winning. I remember when you had Hakkinen versus Schumacher. Ross Brawn, who is never even mentioned anymore. Ross Brawn was touted as this genius tactician. Now, we know it's not just one person. However, he was in charge. He was kind of like the driving force. I've seen so many races where Schumacher won in a slower car because the tic-tacs that Ross Brawn and his team brought out was so superior to McLaren or Williams. And the thing is, originally it was Williams with with Damon Hill, and then Williams with Jacques Villeneuve, and then it was McLaren with Coulthard and Hakkinen, but it was the same story. They would screw up the tactics, and Ross Brawn would bring victory out of defeat. Now, he could only do that with Schumacher. He couldn't have done that with anybody else. Because when he got over the radio, and they both said this, I need 5 laps at this time. And Schumacher would bring out 5 laps at that time to within half a hundredth of a second. 5 laps. Boom, 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 boom. If his driver could not deliver what he asked for, he could not have done the tactics. Right? So, this weekend, I remember when Hamilton was touted as an amazing rainmeister, but I watched him at Silverstone come off like everybody else. I watched him at Hockenheim, the new Hockenheim, where he came off like Vettel. That race, Simon, I would like to know what year it was when everyone came off, but Verstappen stayed on the track and won. Do you remember?
I know which one you mean. It was about 2017, 18, something like that, was it?
Yeah, that was Germany, was it not? Yeah, it was right.
Hockenheim is in Germany.
Yeah, no, it is. Sorry, Hockenheim.
It was the last German Grand Prix, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
It was the last German Grand Prix.
See, I don't remember that. I remember that they've got like what's the phrase I'm looking for? A drag strip.
Yeah,
the drag strip. And then when they come off, they go on the grass. The grass wasn't grippy. Then hit the drag strip, and it was even less because it was so rubbery. And everyone came off. And Hamilton was talked about as being this amazing wet weather driver. He came off. Who didn't come off? Max Verstappen didn't come off. He was 3 or 4 paces behind. He didn't come off, so he won the race. Every time I'd see Max Verstappen, and I don't like the guy. I really don't like. He is like the worst aspects of Schumacher's aggressive, punt them off. We both enter the corner. You decide whether we're going to go smash. Bullshit excuses, driver. But holy crap.
Yeah, he doesn't make mistakes.
Mistakes. He in the wet. So 2016, this was where it really sort of stood out initially for me. 2016, Interlagos, wet weather, and he's going past people like they stood still. How? And that's what happened this weekend. Okay? You had the combination of really good drivers. No one can deny that Lando Norris is not a supremely great F1 driver.
Yeah.
Facing the peak, the pinnacle of F1 driver. You know, the Fangio, the Schumacher, the Senna. I'll say the Senna. You know, the ones that were just, they're not. So if I'm going to go to my, so that's where they are, and everybody else might be there. But that little bit, you can see on my screen, that little bit
extra
is the difference between being able to go around a soaking Interlagos and not come off while still being fast enough to overtake people.
Yeah.
And Norris, and I'll say it, Hamilton, all of them. Hamilton's disappointed the hell out of me over the past 20 years. Because
I think this year, especially this race, he struggled. The car, he just had no grip. He was all over the place. You could see it was bouncing around. I think they just couldn't get a setup that was right. That because normally he is good in the wet. And I thought I was hoping he might at least do something. He has done some pretty good, good races in the wet.
Good, blah 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 blah. But him doing a really good job has not stuck in my memory. Okay, I'm not just being a dick about this. Him doing a really good job has not stuck in my memory.
Yeah.
What's stuck in my memory is the stupid mistakes he's made when someone of the caliber that he's been touted at and hyped at should not have done.
Yeah.
China, 4 races from the end of the season, he should have been world champion. What happened? Beached it.
Yeah.
I watched Jackie Stewart be as disappointed as I was with that performance because he couldn't control his emotions enough to just get into the pit lane and put some tyres on. Seriously, it's like, I've got to win all the time. Max is a tit.
Yeah.
He's a complete and oh.
But I don't think he even had a bit of yesterday. I don't think I saw a shot on the camera of even Max being tested in terms of in terms of opposite lock. There wasn't, his car seemed to be much more solid on the track, which is quite good. Simon, you've been waiting there patiently.
But he was solid on the track, not because of the car. Look at Perez. He ditched it how many times?
Yeah.
It was nothing to do with the car. His car would have
I think it was maybe setups.
Fine.
I think he's got his...
Max Verstappen, to me, and then I'll shut up and let Simon say whatever he wants to say. Because I'm not having this. I'm not stopping Simon talk. I'm giving Simon material to say something intelligent. Shut up, you. Max Verstappen is, for me, though I don't like him and I don't like the dodgy stuff he gets up to, Max Verstappen is the Valentino Rossi of Formula One. I look at him, I see what he's doing, not that I can see much of what he's doing in modern Formula One coverage. I see what he's doing and I go, holy crap, how's he doing that? Which is exactly what happened in MotoGP with Rossi. It makes it exciting. It's like that level of skill is just beyond. It's something else. And sure, Leclerc, Hamilton, all of them, they're all amazing. They're so beyond anything any of us could think about doing. But they disappoint because you're in a race, you're invested in the race, you're really excited. All of you know what I'm talking about, right? You're in a race, you're like, oh my God, it's so good. He's in the lead. He might be able to get the points to get the World Championship. It's a fantastic thing. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Oh my God, he's off the track. And he's 5 places back. And, oh my God, he's done it again. Oh,
yeah,
McLaren. I mean, if it was just that McLaren had screwed up the tactics and then Norris had come back, you could go, wow, he did such a great job. It's amazing. But he didn't. He came off the track 2-3 times. I'm openly corrected.
Yeah.
At least 2 times. I know at least 2 times because I can only watch the shouty idiots talking on the Formula One compilation thing, whatever they call it. But it's like you want Lando. You love Lando. He's a lovely lad. You want him to English. Odd words. You want him to be able to deliver the performance that shows him to be a Max Verstappen rival, but he's not. He's not, because Max, since he was 10 years old in Formula One, or however old he was, he didn't even have a license, he's been nuts, he's been stupid, he's been knocking people off, he's been weaving dangerously down the road, all this kind of stuff. He's been knocking Hamilton off. I wanted Hamilton to be an 8 times world champion. I never would have thought he was the best world champion ever, because that's at least 2 other people. But he disappointed every time. But on the occasion when Verstappen knocked him off and got all the cheating from the FIA, no. But, and that's why I don't like Verstappen, but the problem is, and this is a real problem, it's a problem for me, Max delivers almost perfection in his driving. He's on a lake and he doesn't come off. More than once. It's not like a one-off. More than once, Max goes round on a lake in an inferior car to at least 2 others on the grid.
Yeah,
Ferrari,
he made the most of it.
And look at where Perez has been coming, who's a good driver. He's a good driver. He's the GP winner.
Yeah.
And you compare what he's doing, compare what Max has been doing in the same car, and you have to say, oh my, he's probably the only person I've seen in the past 60, 70 years of Formula One where I go, is he actually genuinely someone that could be compared to Fangio? Because
that's a big...
Jimmy Clark was amazing. Jimmy Clark or Fangio, the 2 best. They're the 2 best up to this point. Max Verstappen might be there.
Yeah.
He might be there. And that's why they lost. Because Lando couldn't deliver what they needed. Why did they bring him in? They brought him in because they didn't have confidence he could handle the car without a tyre change. Why didn't they bring Max in? Because they knew he could. Do you see? Do you see what I'm saying here? For McLaren to be able to do the tactics, even if they got someone clever enough to do it, they have to be able to rely on what the driver can deliver, and they can't.
I think, they got caught up in. I think Max and Lando and Russell, they got caught up in their own race and kind of forgot again about actually what they needed to do, and that's why they both came in. Obviously, they were told to come in, but they were told to come in. Yeah, but they should. I think if they'd been just above it a bit more, they would have realised actually, no, we need to stay out.
Something that I've admired about Hamilton over the years, as he got more mature and
he could argue with his engineer.
He could argue with engineers. Lando can't do that. Now, maybe he would have his own idea, but he's not. But this is the same problem. Mercedes can't argue back against Hamilton. They have to persuade. Now, how old is Max? Just out of interest, anyone?
Mid-20s, is he not?
Oh, he's in his 20s, but he was 17 when he started. He didn't even have a license. How old is he now?
25 then, isn't he?
Yeah, right. It must be about that.
25. So he's 25 years old. I became a father at 25. That's what really cemented the beginning of me being able to stand up for myself.
Yeah.
He's been standing up for himself vociferously since he was 17 in Formula One. He's never not stuck up for himself. He's been swearing at him and doing what he wanted anyway. That's part of the thing. Would anybody say that Senna allowed somebody else to tell him what to do?
No.
No.
Right, Simon, I will go over to you. You've been waiting extremely patiently there. What was your take on the race yesterday in Brazil?
Well, let's just go with the race first. I thought, you can't argue with Max's performance on that. Yeah. I will always say there's going to be a little bit of the car. I think Red Bull clicked into the conditions better than McLaren did. I think McLaren were more set up for the 1-lap pace than what they were race pace. Yeah. There was a little bit of that in it, but you cannot deny what Max did. I mean, God, if you really want to get into the realms of the stupid conspiracy theories, some of the overtakes were a bit straightforward. But at the end of the day, how the conditions were, people were not going to risk fighting, with someone who's in a championship, because imagine the fallout. So, but at the end of the day, Max reminds me of when I was at Silverstone in '92 when it was pissing it down, sort of from midday onwards. Saturday qualifying, he knows what a grip is, like a certain Ayrton Senna.
Yeah.
Senna knew where the grip was. You don't know how he knew. And it was just one of those things. And to a certain extent, Lewis does, and Jim Clark, and you go all through these drivers. And let's make it clear, I don't think they like the rain. It's just that for some reason, they know how to find the grip. And he does. He did it in Brazil, what was it, about 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Where he finished second, he had almost matched this race, really, but he was way above everyone else. And it's exactly the same in this race.
Yeah.
In a dry race, he probably would have finished 6th.
Yeah.
And the McLaren, and I see what Darren said about Piastri. Piastri, I think, is knocking on the door. If he'd have had, Lando's points, I mean, at the end of the day, the only trouble is, we can say Lando got 3 points. Well, McLaren have to make that decision. If they want a World Drivers' Champion, and they took too long to make that decision.
Months too long. Months too long.
At the end of the day, McLaren have always been like that. They've said, 2 drivers. I mean, you can fight out. The trouble is you've got 2 young, very fast drivers. And Piastri possibly could be faster. Just going by certain races, it's possible he is fast. And the difference is he's got that Aussie grit. He's got a bit of I don't care. Lando, he's a lovely lad, but does he have that? Does he have that mean streak in him? What he'll need to be a world champion?
Yeah,
and that's the problem. But going back to the race, yes, I mean McLaren just up to their usual tricks of weird decisions. But I think what wasn't playing well for McLaren was they were in a fight with Mercedes and George Russell. George Russell was the jack in the pack of cards, just playing the whole situation out. Unfortunately, he seemed to be quite quick. I don't think they expected him to be that quick and keeping up on the race pace, which he did. And it proves that Mercedes did have a setup, but for some reason didn't want to give it to Hamilton. But we can again go into conspiracy theories about that. But there we go. I mean,
I just wonder. It's interesting because on that, with the Ferraris were not that great on pace yesterday. But although at least I'm pleased that Ferrari has closed the gap and had a couple of victories as well, because I think that looks better for Hamilton next year. Hopefully he can start in a car that's actually going to give him a chance to run for the title.
It might just be a change of motivation again.
But does he deserve it? Does he deserve it? Come on.
Well, but he
deserve another chance.
Does he deserve? Who does?
I don't.
Hamilton. Does Hamilton deserve to inherit a good car from a team that's been developing and doing a bad job over a bunch of years? They suddenly have a car that's kind of, maybe I'm being completely unfair.
I'd say, Ru, on one hand, I'd agree with you. On the other hand, I wouldn't. It's a 50-50 for me because I must admit, Carlos Sainz to me hasn't done a lot wrong.
It's been brilliant.
You do feel for him, but at the end of the day, Lewis could absolutely blow everyone away next season. Once with new, you just never know with him. But if he doesn't do it in the first year, then he might as well just hang the overalls up and put the helmet away. But he's got to do it in the first year.
I think he's maybe stayed at Mercedes.
He's got to be right at the hat. He's got to be right out of the hat.
I was going to say that if he can manage to if he can blow Leclerc away, who is widely regarded as a very, very talented driver, if he can blow him away, if he can actually beat him,
for me,
would be.
Leclerc is one of those drivers who blows hot and cold.
Yeah.
Yes, he's not consistent, is he? And it depends. Yeah. Do you remember, Simon? Do you remember the days when people used to talk about Damon Hill? And he was undeniably fast in a fast car, but he was quick.
Certain days he was. I mean, Japan, Suzuki
before.
Even Hungary.
Certain days, certain tracks. If he was at the front, and you could say the same about.
He was spot on, but
you could say the same about Hakkinen. Hakkinen, if he was at the front, if he qualified in pole and stayed in the front three, he was a real threat. I remember a number of times. Yeah.
One faster, but just didn't like pressure.
If he was fifth or lower, he disappeared.
He didn't like pressure, and that's why he retired early.
Yeah.
It's the same with Damon Hill. It got too much, to keep plugging away at this, and some people just turn into, want to spend time in the family. Look at Nico Rosberg. But once he won that world championship, that was it. Right. I've done it now. Now I can relax.
Gotta respect the commitment he gave that 1 year, because he's said, hasn't he?
I've seen the interview and everything he needed to do. What bits did he need to do? The things that he loves, this, that, and the other. And
but 1 year, okay.
And he went for it.
That it's like, no, I've got a life. Thanks very much. I've got loads of money. Get lost. It's fair enough. And this is the thing. Hamilton,
at the end of I always thought that season the first 4 races won him that world championship.
Yeah.
Okay, this is where you do a better job over me. That's why.
Well, remember, because he had that run from the last season.
Always defer to you on these things.
And then ran into the first 4 races. He developed that lead and never really. I mean, Hamilton was always playing catch up in the sense that if he had
didn't Hamilton's car keep blowing up and
he didn't have a lot of luck and reliability. The big one was at Malaysia, wasn't it? When you hear him come over the radio, no, because then he had to win every race and hope Rosberg at one of them failed. That's why he was backing him up into Vettel at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, no, that was a great.
And that honestly, that is the season that showed for me Hamilton's class. You see, I mean, the thing is that people think you are either for or against, but I'm a nuanced guy. If this is for, if that's against, I'm here, and I work on the evidence shown before me. I work on what I'm seeing. I'm not anti-Hamilton. I hate that phrase, fanboy. I want to punch people that says fanboy. Anyone that says fanboy, I want to punch him in the face. They might as well say something ist or phobe. It's ridiculous. There is something in between. I love or I hate. What I love over here. Over here, I love racing and skill. What I hate is awful fixing and bullshit. So, Hamilton, that year, he was so many races down because of reliability. He didn't give up. He's so competitive. He kept going. And you were saying about Lando being hard enough to be able to fight against Verstappen. That's one thing I've got a bit of hope for, because he has looked at what's gone on and he has decided, I'm going to be harder. Now, I remember the point. I can't remember when it happened, but I remember the point when Lewis Hamilton decided, I'm not putting up with this crap anymore. I am not putting up with being punted off anymore. I am not moving out of the way anymore. Win or lose, I'm going to make them crash. If they're going to do a manoeuvre, which is the crap that's been going on with Verstappen these days, and I am going to be there for them to crash. They lose too. And he did that. And then people go, oh, Lewis is being too aggressive. No, not being aggressive. What he was doing was standing up to a bully. Now, I've been watching Rosberg since he was in his Williams days. I have seen him do dangerous moves across the track against
people. It was quite.
All the time. All the time. He was someone that didn't give a... Schumacher was his idol. Smashing into people was his thing. Yeah. And then he found someone that wouldn't go, oh, sorry, I got in your way. And honestly, this is one of the biggest problems I've got with both Schumacher and Senna, is that they pull that kind of crap all the time. Yeah. Brundle said that he would go into a corner going, I'm going to this corner and it's up to you if we crash. That's like someone saying, I'm going to shoot you in the head if you say no.
For the Grand Prix, hang on. The start is...
You're still there? You're still there? I'm just going to get my video ready for the next one. Well, carry on.
I don't know what you're saying now.
This was the next question I was going to ask about the aborted start. Of what do you think? Or a £5,000 fine and a reprimand for Lando. Because I was going to. My next question was, what do you think about the fact that they all drove away early and only Verstappen and a few others stayed? Because they never really said they were going to discuss it. Well, they said they were going to discuss it after the race.
It was because it didn't go to a green light and then they moved away. But I don't know. I watched the highlights. The Formula One highlights. So because do you remember?
That was it. Yeah,
Pirelli tyres are so crap.
Yeah.
If there's
well, like I would like to say, Rue, if I could. Hamilton had a point when he was talking to interrupted old Stefano in the pit lane and said, give us better wet tyres and give us blankets. We could have gone out in this. And it was a slight point out because I don't know, I've been sharing on Twitter, a lot of you don't have to on Twitter, 1994 when Senna and Hill went out and it was as worse than it was on Saturday and they were going out on the Sunday morning warm-up and Senna went out just to go and see the crowd, so the crowd saw it. It wasn't anything they didn't need to because I think the forecast were to improve, but it was literally, they didn't have all those bits that are on the track now that help with the drainage. That wasn't there back then, so you saw all these huge puddles where the car just literally aquaplaned across and how, just keeping it on. But, I did think that down. I was thinking, does he mean Mansell? Is he because he knows I'm a Mansell fan? And you're thinking what I would have thought. But going to what's being said in the chat, I can understand where you're coming from. If it had been Max at the pole and he'd got a penalty, I'd be saying, why has he got a penalty for that? A penalty should be just like anything for those sort of infringements of driving off the line is right. If Lando's got, I'm pretty certain Darren's right, has got a £5,000 fine and reprimand, that's the right penalty. But you don't give a penalty of, 5-second penalty or anything like that. If Max had been given that something, if he'd have been in the same position, that would have been wrong. Whether that would have happened, we'll never know, will we? But
now, there's a good question from Cheech saying, did Mercedes get punished for pumping up the tyres? Because they did that illegally, didn't they? That was the other. I mean, it seemed like there were so many investigations. Certainly, everything was under investigation for different things. I mean, the thing is, Verstappen had all these penalties from the previous race, getting 5-place grid penalties, and then you almost kind of felt, are they trying to even this out a little bit with the amount of kind of investigations? Everything went wrong for everybody else the next day, and it was only Verstappen who seemed to be in the clear and kept his head, when everyone else was kind of really falling by the wayside.
It's exactly like football, where a referee even out decisions during the 90 minutes. Or giving them a penalty, better give the other team a penalty as soon as someone falls down in the other 18-yard box. It's exactly like that. There's no consistency. To think, oh God, they've moaned about this one, right? We'll better do the same to another team. It's just, you just want a bit of and it always makes me laugh when you see who the driver stewards were and these decisions being made. I think if you honestly supported that, back in, it was Derek, say like we go back to the USA Grand Prix where Lando got his penalty. And I thought, if you were Derek Walker, that was you back in 1986 or whatever, you would have gone absolutely ape shit. Let's just say that. And, but my argument is with penalties and all this track limits, I hate track limits. This is what puts me off.
Oh, yes, me too.
Bring back gravel. I know there's a big thing about because certain tracks are used for MotoGP and F1 because it's a safety thing, but something's got to be brought in instead of just tarmac areas because
or they need a clear line as to what they are.
A clear line, or it's just going to be this grey area all the while. At least in the old days, if you try something what Lando was going to try on Max, he knew he'd have to pull out. It would have been gravel trap or on the track.
Yeah,
it would have been end of race.
Remember grass? Remember grass? I like you, Simon. I hate gravel.
But that's what I get told about gravel. It's good for Formula One cars, stops them, and from a safety point of view. But mainly, it's a problem with MotoGP drivers that where circuits are used for both of them. It's pretty, can be really dangerous.
Remember grass?
Yeah, grass.
Grass. Anything. We need anything that's a lower grip, a significantly lower grip.
Something needs to be some sort of paint that it can use. To do
paint,
that.
I mean, how many times we saw on the weekend? I can't remember who it was. What happened? Did my brakes fail? That's what I heard. He was like.
Was that not Hamilton? Was it not Hamilton?
No, it wasn't Hamilton. I can't remember who it was.
Was it Albon or Stroll?
In the qualifying?
Yes. It was Albon, and he was 2 wheels on the paint, braking, and his car went woo.
Is there a problem? He still said the driver's parade. I think there was a problem there. Yeah, you were too wide.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad.
Give me an excuse for why I was crap.
And then Stroll crashed twice.
Problem.
There are lots of big crashes.
Just like he's apparently from Thailand, even though he was brought up in Britain. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, that's true. Cheat said, why did Stroll drive into the gravel trap and not just reverse out? Yeah, because he wasn't even on the gravel when he went off, didn't he? And he somehow managed to drive into it.
Talk about Lance Stroll.
Yeah, he did. He drove into the gravel trap. He could have just reversed out, or because he was on the he wasn't on the track.
What the hell is it? He wasn't even near the gravel trap.
Yeah, he drove into it.
Nowhere near it. He could have done.
I would have thought he'd have been able to do a 180.
Including what Simon said. He could have span it. He could have done anything. No. If
I rev it enough, I'll get through the gravel track.
My dad owns Canada. I'm going in. How dare this gravel stop me?
He was probably thinking, that's it. Well, hang on a minute. We're on wet tyres, so the car will be riding higher, so I'll be able to get across the gravel.
Yeah.
If I just rev it enough,
it will somehow work. It's quite a thing. So, what do you think? Moving on. What do you think? We're going into Vegas and then Qatar and then Abu Dhabi. 3 races. Hang on, it's a 60-point lead for Verstappen. So basically, he can win it. He can win it quite easily now.
It was over 2 races ago, in my opinion. I said that 2 years ago. 2 races ago.
I know your memory is good, but that's like, come on.
Yeah, Max has got to retire from every race, in my opinion, for Landon.
Yeah.
Trouble is, like I say, Oscar's too much. I know Oscar would move over for him now, but other drivers, Ferraris are too quick. They don't care whether Lando's going to win the championship, so they're going to go for wins. They can win the constructors' championship. So, no, it's not going to happen.
Yes, you got 3 manufacturers that are. You got 2 manufacturers that are faster than Red Bull, with talented drivers, and
likely honestly, at these 3 tracks will be
Norris is going to be so stressed. He's going to be so bad. If Norris can do a decent job in the next couple of races, great, wonderful. But he's not going to be able to. And like you said, Simon, Piastri's a rookie. I don't think Piastri's as good as Max. I don't. But he's better than Norris. And he's gonna peel over Norris, and then McLaren's gonna go, oh. Yeah. Norris needs to find himself a new top team. to be able to win, because he's not going to be the top guy in that place.
So I always remember.
I don't necessarily believe that. He just needs to find a new mindset.
Yeah. Remember all the way back to 1991, and it was it was Senna and Mansell, and the McLarens were very, very strong. Mansell was his first year at Williams again, returning after potentially retiring, and that car was very unreliable. But it started to come good in the middle of the season, and I think he won in France, Spain, and Germany, and brought the points down to, I think, maybe 7 or 8 points in it. It was not a lot, and then he kind of kept with it. And he was leading in Portugal, and all he needed to do was a standard pit stop. And of course, he came in too quickly, and they botched it up. They didn't put his wheel on properly, and it came off, and he was disqualified because he had to stop at the end of the pit lane. And that was it all done. And then even in Japan, he ended up going off when he was following.
Different era. Sorry. Different era.
It is a different era, but in that you kind of felt, because that allowed Mansell's run, because he knew he was almost distant there, and he was building up, and keeping the points.
Yeah, but my point about being a different era wasn't just about the cars and the stuff. It's about the way the teams work. Okay.
But you don't think as well drivers can rise up to we're maybe, I don't think we're underestimating Lando. I think he is a little bit inexperienced here and there. But do you think he could rise to that occasion?
No.
Like a Mansell and get a championship?
No. Not in the slightest.
No, I'm not saying this year.
Let me ask
he's
this
going to
question.
change his mindset. He's in the next 2 years will be an important phase. That's where we'll learn.
Yeah, but I
don't think we can give an 100% answer until how he starts next season.
He won't be a world champion. He won't ever be a world champion.
You heard it here first, folks. He will not be ever a world champion.
Unless.
Hello, backtrack.
This is not a Trump campaign. You don't need to take anything out of context. Unless Max retires, none of these people will be a world champion. Not a chance. Let me ask this question. Simon, Hugh. One race ago, if it was reversed and Norris was in the lead with the same points, right, and Max was second, would you think Max could win?
Possibly.
No.
Wow.
And I will stick to that because of the last three races, because of they're most likely to be dry. Because
McLaren is strong.
His skill. Say if Brazil had been dry, I still think they would have had a very different result.
Yeah, that's true.
Would Max have done a better job with the McLaren machinery than Lando?
Well, yeah, because of his experience, he's been
right. So they would have been closer. I'm not talking about could Max win with the same.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I'm just trying to think of points. I'm just trying to think of the points matter. I thought Lando's chance had gone 2 or 3 races ago, let alone the last race. So
okay,
I will stick by that.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Just by how modern scoring system is. I think it was just a little bit too much for anyone to get this back.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we love the Simon and why you should subscribe to his channel, because he has a brain like this big and an ego this big. And that is the perfect combination of people with glasses. Thank you very much. Love you.
I jokingly said Hamilton will win the championship in 2025, first time out with Ferrari, and then Darren has come straight back.
Well, I know Darren would answer with like that anyway.
My favourite answer is Ian's GTR cars and Cheech. Yes, they're all correct. Ridiculous. He's not going to get an 8th championship.
But I don't know. I wouldn't write him off.
Fun, but it's not happening. No.
I think if he does well next year and the car is at all any good, he might just be there. What I think would be interesting is if Adrian Newey has an effect on the car quite quickly, And then you've got Stroll, been given a great car.
Look at Adrian Newey. Even though with what he's achieved, every time he's changed team, it's taken him at least a couple of years to make a difference.
The Jaguar team, he came in Red Bull. How long did it take them to even make it?
About 4 or 5 years, didn't it? So
yes.
And they had all the money. They had all the money in the world, and he's
all the money in the world. And the team they inherited was Stewart Grand Prix. And Stewart Grand Prix, as far as I understand, is a team that has had the greatest impact as a new team of any team I know. They were in the same era where British American Racing, BAR, with all the money in the world, they had so much money. And they had a really good driver in Jacques Villeneuve and all this kind of stuff. And they were coming out with, we'll be winning races by the end of the season. I remember.
They had big crashes. They were very good at crashing at Spa.
10 years to get a race win.
But we all know why they come up with those sort of things. Oh, we're winning.
Because they were full of shit.
Yeah, it's
useless.
They've got to tell the sponsors, otherwise sponsors won't give them the money. Yeah. So they've got to tell them these things. So I remember when Ron Dennis, McLaren and Honda went back together again. Oh yeah, Honda know what they're doing. They've been doing this thing, and they were miles off for 3-4 years until they started.
I hate it when
then
you're
they came good, and then
Simon,
went to Red Bull.
I hate it.
They came good, went to Red Bull, and they've had that great engine for quite a while. That really helped them in those 3 years that Max won the championships 3 in a row. They did get there; it just took them a while. But
I think sometimes when team and engines don't work together properly, that's what
like Ferrari. Like Ferrari before Ross Brawn came along. I have read his book. There was a massive disconnect between the chassis and the engine parts of the thing. I mean, I know the chassis part was in Britain, but there was so much going on.
That was all to do with John Barnard as well, wasn't it? He spoke about how
yes.
That you were not allowed to say the Ferrari engine was crap. They would always find another excuse to say what was the problem.
He was not the person that fixed it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying was at the time, say when it was 92, when they had quite
ego,
the double
politics,
sort of chassis. The actual idea was quite clever, but the engine was a dog.
One at a time. Sorry,
the relationship thing was done by a genius who knew how to build relationships, which it pisses me off like you wouldn't believe. Ross Brawn built the Mercedes team. He built it from nothing. I mean, he made Brawn GP and then sold it to Mercedes and then carried it on. He was literally the foundation. Cut out completely. Completely cut out from anything to do with that team. I remember the interviews at the time as to why Lewis Hamilton went to that team. And it was all like, well, Ross Brawn persuaded me, Ross Brawn this, Ross Brawn that. Now it's Niki Lauda this, Niki Lauda that. Now, I'm sorry, Niki Lauda is one of my pissing heroes. He's amazing. The guy should have died. I hate the film because the film makes out that he was someone that could set up a car. Get lost. 3 times world champion with 2 teams. No. You don't get that by being able to set up a car.
Yeah.
But you don't even hear Ross Brawn mention the Mercedes anymore. He built the team. He was the reason why the 2014 onwards car was as dominant as it was. Oh God! Ooh.
Can I take you back? If this works, this will be a miracle. But I want to show you. It's a clip of the first lap of Silverstone back from 1995 to show you what it was like, what the difference.
I was there.
Yeah. Let me just see if this can work. Hopefully it can work.
I'll tell you where I was, all right?
You will be able to do that.
2 seconds.
This is why I love this guy. I love this guy. I love him.
There we go. Hopefully we can...
What does shadow band mean, Hugh?
Races, do you think it will be quite an exciting end to the season?
Vegas can kiss my yellow hairy butt.
No,
you can't. Yeah, the idea of how they, all the glitz and glamour of it, and it was awful last year. Yeah,
I thought the track was all right. The track was quite good. But
yeah, some people seem to like it. It wasn't for me. Yeah, it wasn't for me. Like I say, I'm too old school F1 for me.
You got Qatar and Abu Dhabi. I do like Abu Dhabi, the way it starts in the afternoon and then the sunset and then off into the evening. I think it is quite. It's a great way to finish the season.
Looks very nice, but it's awful racing. That track.
They've made the
driving,
but the rest of it's shit.
But we will see. Well, look, thank you very much.
Hugh, do you like to drive into Newcastle as the sun's setting and you can't see anything?
Well, yeah, but they've got big stadiums to keep the sun out of their eyes, so it's all there. I'm sure it works. Well, look, thank you to everyone who has...
No. You don't get to go yet. Las Vegas, tiny track, very narrow. Yeah, so an IndyCar track.
Las Vegas has got some. It's quite wide in places, though. It's got some good hairpins. There was quite a bit of overtaking.
No.
I thought it was better than Miami. Better than Miami as a track.
Being punched in the head is better than Miami. What the hell are you talking about? I
actually quite enjoyed Vegas. And
at the end of the day, the cars are too wide.
Yeah, they do look too big. When you think about that 1995 Ferrari and the McLaren, look how much smaller it was, isn't it? I mean, it's so much less space and much prettier. Although I do quite like the design of the current cars to a degree. I think all the aero, they kind of got it looking quite nice. But I mean, it's very modern. But I still think, for me, the 1995 Ferrari F1 is my favourite looking car. I think I just love the way it.
Yeah,
I've got a question for Simon. Okay, so if I said a car with the footprint of the Honda V6 that Mansell, Senna, McLaren had, but with 1,000 horsepower, would that be interesting to you?
Right, yeah, that's something like the Lotus, was it?
No, I'm talking about modern aerodynamics. Modern car, modern. To replace this shit in 2026, to get a car, and I would personally like something that's got a progressive power input instead of right now you got all torque. No, there's no increase in power. Yeah.
Let's see how. I'm interested. I know it's a different, complete different type of racing. Let's see how touring cars gets on with sustainable fuels next year.
Yeah,
that's the way I'd like Formula One to go. But whether it would happen, I don't know.
Because for people that don't understand or know, sustainable fuels are not sustainable. Because what's going to happen is they're going to cut down forests and crap like that, and they're going to make monocultures, like wheat and stuff. People think this kind of stuff's environmentally friendly, but as someone that did a couple of things that was involved in the School of Agriculture and Forest Sciences in Bangor University, for example, you've got to grow this stuff somewhere. To grow it, you have to have land. To find the land, you've got to chop down areas of virgin rainforest or other things with biodiversity and turn it into a monoculture where you kill everything with your spraying of crop protection things
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so environmentally friendly. Yes, kill all the things. And then you've got to put it through processes, which takes energy and makes pollutants. It doesn't, like electric vehicles, it doesn't just appear out of the ether and then make stuff happen.
Can I share this as well? This is a great one. This is what shows you were talking about Schumacher earlier. Hopefully this will work.
Can I show you my video?
Yeah, give me 2 seconds.
I know, but you want to end, but it's like, you know.
Ready to go? Can you hear it now?
Yes.
This is in 100%. Barcelona 91.
One of my favourite ever races.
This is a V6. This is a V6.
I think it was a V8.
That's a V8.
What, a DFE?
This is a Ford V8.
Yes, a DFE. Okay, but it's Cosworth. It's not Ford. Fucking, come on. You think Ford can produce an engine like this? No. Cosworth, they can.
I think it was a Cosworth. Was it not a Cosworth V8 they had in it?
Of course it's a Cosworth. What the hell are you talking about? What the hell's wrong with you? The DFE, dual 4 valve. It might have been a grandchild of the original, but it's
so he's just got past, I think, Patrese. Was that Patrese?
No, he's got past Mansell.
Oh, Mansell.
Yeah, Mansell struggled in the slippy conditions to begin with, because there's Berger in the lead, Senna here second.
And I don't know if he had a semi-automatic box.
No, he's got a manual.
Yeah.
Look at his right hand and see if it.
Yeah, you don't see it very well on this. You don't see it very well on this shot. It's a bit too zoomed up to the cockpit. I mean, you don't see. You just saw it pop off then, but not as clear as some other ones, like Senna's one. You can always see his hand come off.
I love Keith Duckworth. Keith Duckworth, half of the Cosworth Engineering Company. What you got to do is you got to understand.
That's the way to do it. There's so many good.
Bang! Dennis, by how many bangs you got for a second? I love it.
Yeah.
Can I show you my video?
Absolutely.
Oh, you say that, but you were trying to leave me. So.
Well, we saw you leave, so we thought that was the right time. We thought you left us.
All right. You put it on and we'll add it on. I'm quite impressed. Tell me, when you're watching that, for people in the comments, did that picture come through quite well? Did that actually, did it look quite close? Thank you to everyone who's been watching and listening and also sharing and commenting on our show as well. And if you want to leave a comment on the podcast too, that would be fantastic. But have a great week, everyone. I'll be back streaming again on GT7. I've actually done some quite good lap times. I got a 124.5 on race A today, which is not too bad. So I will see you all very soon. And of course, on Wednesday, we've got a big interview with Paul Walsh, who is a sim and real motorsport commentator. He's been on the show before, so make sure you join us for that at 8:15 this Wednesday coming. But take care, everyone, and I'll see you very soon. Drive fast, but drive your bus even faster. Bye just now.